While I never would have admitted it at the time, I definitely expected that once I lost the weight, someone was going to love me and I would fall in love and get married and live happily ever after. Do you struggle to maintain weight loss but desperately want to feel good in your own skin, confident in your clothes, and improve your overall health? If so, you're home. Hey, I'm Sam. I'm an elder millennial, dietitian, specialist in weight management, and former functioning fat girl. I learned how to win at weight loss by breaking free from diet culture PTSD. My mission is to marry the science with practical, real-life strategies because we all know if it's not realistic, it's not happening. Are you ready to ditch diet culture and learn how to win at weight loss? Grab your water bottle and let's go. Before we get started on today's amazing episode, I just want to remind you that if you're not subscribed to my email newsletter, More Than a Number Weekly, you're missing out. I break down the most important points of these podcast episodes, provide you with effective freebies, and give you first dibs on any new offers or programs that I'm running. This is the best way to stay in contact with me, and you can even send in ideas for specific topics you want me to break down on the podcast. So don't miss out and go to bit.ly/MTAN weekly. MTAN like more than a number. So it's bit.ly, B as in boy, IT.ly/MTAN weekly. Okay, let's dig into the episode. Well, hey, my friends, how we feeling? How we doing? If you're a regular, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm so glad you found us. This is actually part 3, the final episode of this 3-part series. So if you haven't heard the other episodes, don't go anywhere. You can still listen to this one first, but definitely go back and listen to the other 2. This series is basically all about how we can shoot ourselves right in the darn foot by having preconceived, unrealistic expectations of the weight loss and weight maintenance process. We've gone over what those expectations are during active weight loss, as well as the maintenance phase following weight loss, and how to combat them with the real, the truth. It ain't fancy, it ain't magical, but it's the truth and it works. If you've ever been to a 12-step meeting of any kind, you know they always say, it works if you work it. So I'm giving you the tools you need to work it, girl. Today is going to be super vulnerable for me. I'm a crier, so don't be alarmed if I get emotional. We're talking about the most common expectations we have about what life will be like once we've lost weight. What we're going to feel like, how our day-to-day will change. And we're talking about why those common expectations are a bunch of BS and how they can lead to regain. Now, please don't get me wrong. I often compare it to getting more money. Those of us who don't have any, present company included, have this magical dream that just getting a bunch more money is going to solve all of our problems. But hello, the reality is we see all the time how people with way more money than we can even imagine can also be some of the saddest people and still go through the most horrible tragedies, right? Money is often mistaken as the root of all evil, but that's actually not true. There's nothing evil about having money. It can do a lot of good and it can make us a lot more comfortable. It's idolizing money that's the root of all evil. Similarly, when we're big, we have this fantasy of when I lose the weight, I'll be fill in the blank. I'll be happy. I'll be confident. I won't have any problems. Everyone will love me. I'll get married. I'll have a better marriage. I'll get a better job. The list goes on and on. Well, you know I always keep it real with you guys. And I know I say this often, but I really do hate to be a Debbie Downer or be the bubble burster. But I want you to have I do. I want you to have big goals and big dreams, and I want you to want more for yourself and for your health. But idolizing a certain number on the scale or a certain size pants is only going to end in disaster. Weight loss does not fix all of ours or the world's problems, unfortunately. It certainly can improve our lives in ways you can't even imagine until you experience it. But life is still going to life. Crap is still going to happen. Body image issues don't just automatically go away because the number decreased on the scale. This is a reality so many people are not prepared for and therefore end up letting sabotage their success. My prayer for you is that talking about it, providing evidence-based information, sharing my own personal struggles, will all encourage you to utilize this as power and preparation. So what are some of the most common once I lose weight expectations? Let's get into it. Once I lose weight, I'll finally feel confident. The expectation is I'll love my body, I'll feel comfortable in my own skin, and I'll stop being self-conscious. Y'all, it has taken me a lot of years, a lot of tears, and a heck of a lot of Holy Spirit intervention to get to the point of feeling comfortable in my own skin most of the time. Emphasis on most of the time. It is a journey. Body image goes so much deeper than just the size of our clothes. Unfortunately, we don't just lose weight and all of our bodies transform into Cindy Crawford or whoever your picture of perfect body is. I promise you, even Cindy has her own body image issues. Those issues are issues of the mind, not actually our body. That's why in previous episodes you've heard me say we can't hate ourselves into improving our weight and our health. We have to love ourselves as is first. We have to love ourselves enough to want better for ourselves and to understand that we're a work in progress and we're just trying to improve, not be perfect. Perfect is a myth. There is no perfect. So we need to love our bodies, feel comfortable in our own skin first. If you're picking apart every single thing you view as a flaw and punishing yourself with some restrictive diet, once you lose the weight, you'll find plenty of other things to keep picking apart and the cycle will just continue. It will never be enough. You were created on purpose for a purpose. This is where the spirit or the soul part of the mind, body, spirit foundation of health is so, so important. You don't have to be a Christian like me, have a specific religion, whatever. But you do have to find some way to be at peace with your body. I can promise you, the peace doesn't magically happen because you lost weight. A great exercise you can do is write down all of the things about your body that make you insecure. And then next to them, write a statement of gratitude to God, if you're a believer, or directly to the body part, thanking it for all that it's done for you. So, for example, my legs have always been a source of deep, painful insecurity for me. I carry most of my weight in the bottom half. If you know what I'm talking about. Thighs, hips, butt. And when I was in elementary school, a girl named Kylie called me Thunder Thighs in front of a bunch of the cool kids, including the boy I had a massive crush on. And to this day, I can still feel my little 4th grade heart breaking in that moment. I still look at myself in the mirror, and if I'm not having a great mental health day, all I hear is thunder thighs when I look at my thighs. It may sound silly that I still remember something from 4th grade, but that is the reality of it. And I can guarantee that probably most of you have your own version of that story. After losing 200 pounds, my thighs are still where my body just carries the most weight. And as an added bonus, now, because I lost all that weight, they also hold a lot of loose skin, which can be really frustrating with clothes, with pants. But these thighs are strong, like strong. They make it possible for me to live on the second floor with no elevator, dragging groceries and stuff up and down, run around a hospital all day, squat, lunge, deadlift, my very favorite, the leg press, push a heavy as heck sled across the gym. So I know if, God forbid, I had to push a car or something in an emergency, I'd have no problem. God made these thighs sturdy and powerful for a reason, and I am grateful to Him for that. So our expectations after weight loss is that we're going to feel confident, that we're going to love our body, that we're going to feel comfortable in our skin, that we're going to stop being self-conscious just because we lost weight. But the reality is that body image doesn't automatically change when the scale changes. Many people still fixate on those problem areas, or what we deem as problem areas. Loose skin, stretch marks, or scars can trigger a whole new world of insecurities. And confidence is a skill, not a side effect of weight loss. In my opinion, confidence is a choice. And guys, side note, loose skin is no joke. I get asked 47 million trillion times a day by clients starting their weight loss journey what they need to do to avoid loose skin. I could do an entire episode on this, and, maybe I will. But I can tell you this with certainty. I'd rather have this loose skin than be back at 400 pounds. That's for darn sure. So this is why body image work is so critical during weight loss and not just after. We have to learn how to love ourselves and do the work to find that place of inner peace within ourselves, with us and God, because we have to love ourselves into meeting our goals and into improving our health. The next common expectation is that life is going to feel easier and happier. I'll be happier overall. My stress will be lower. I will finally feel at peace just because I lost weight. Unfortunately, no. Life stressors don't disappear. Work, relationships, finances, parenting, grief, it all still exists. Remember I said life is still gonna life. Food can no longer serve as the same emotional coping tool, and that can actually be a source of grief as well. A lot of people really experience that sense of grief for their old relationship with food. Some people describe it as feeling like a divorce, or the death of a relationship. Weight loss can remove one stressor, but it does not replace emotional coping skills. So we've got to remember that life is always going to life, and inner peace is not found in a number on the scale. The next one, we expect that people will treat us better and that it's going to feel great. We're going to get more compliments. We're going to get more attention. We're going to get more respect. Well, the reality is that people do actually treat thinner bodies differently, smaller bodies, 100%. And that feeling is not always great. It's actually quite unsettling to realize that you are being treated differently. You can also be uncomfortable by those compliments because you're not used to them. And also it feels kind of conditional. You might actually miss the lack of attention that you experienced before. And so some relationships will shift or feel strained. Oh my gosh, I could go on and on for days about, our relationships with people that are based in those unhealthy food behaviors. And if they're not ready to change, then it's almost like they feel, or they make you feel bad for making those changes. And they, it may not be intentional sabotage, but in a way they're really sabotaging, because they're like, oh no, I mean, you can have pizza just this once, or you can skip this workout or whatever. And people will try to talk you into doing the things that they want to be doing because they're not ready for that change. So there's a lot of shifts in many different relationships, not just, like a spouse. I mean, it can be any type of friend or family member, coworkers, things like that. So that can create a lot of anger, sadness, confusion, shock. A lot of times people are not prepared for that, and they're like, what the heck is going on here? The next expectation is, once I hit my goal weight, I'll relax. I did an entire episode on this last week on weight maintenance, our expectations during weight maintenance. I did a real deep dive. So if you did not hear the second part of this 3-part series, you want to definitely go back and listen to that after this one. You'll see I go really deep into that. But the expectation is that I can stop tracking what I'm eating. I can loosen up. I don't have to work out as much. Maintenance is going to be great. I'm miraculously one of those people that can just eat and do whatever and not have to deal with the consequences. But the reality is that maintenance actually requires more intentionality than weight loss. It is a much more difficult, bigger challenge than the actual weight loss process, which I know is very surprising for some people. It's a tough pill to swallow that, we never kind of get to a place of being, I want to say off the hook, but it's not that you have to be miserable and always have to be hyper aware of what you're doing. It's that we just have to make the healthy lifestyle the priority, to be doing more often than we're not doing. And when you make it part of your life and you're not looking at it as like a temporary diet, you do start to enjoy it. And it does become your new normal. But it 100%, the maintenance absolutely requires more intentionality than the weight loss. Our hunger hormones are increasing, metabolism is lowering. We might feel like, we're working harder just to stay the same. And fear of regain actually can be mentally exhausting. Some people are scared to eat certain things because they're petrified to regain weight. So this is one of the biggest emotional shocks after weight loss, and also one of the reasons why I strongly encourage everyone to most definitely consider therapy. It does not mean that, you have to be like on a permanent fixture on a therapist's couch every week for the rest of your life. But you most definitely want to utilize that as one of the tools in your toolbox for long-term weight maintenance. Okay. The next expectation is that food won't have power over me anymore. I won't think about food as much. Cravings are just going to magically disappear. I'm going to be fixed. I'm done. I'm not one of those people anymore that struggles with weight. But the reality is that appetite, like I said before, increases after weight loss. Food noise can, not definitely will, but if we're not paying attention and we're not staying on top of these things, then it can become very prevalent. Restriction history can, make cravings louder, not quieter. So if you lost weight because you were super restrictive, then, that can really cause the mind and the body to be talking a lot louder about the food in your head. And that is, all like physiological changes. It's not a lack of willpower. It's scientifically what's happening after weight loss in the body. Another expectation is if I regain weight, I've failed. I'm a failure. Weight loss should be permanent. Regain means I did something wrong. Absolutely not. Some degree of regain is very common and expected. Our bodies are kind of defending the higher weights after loss. It's trying to make sure that we're not in some kind of starvation mode. Weight cycling is a biological response. It's not a character flaw. And so, again, that does not mean that we just say, well, the heck with it, there's no point then. That means we have to have a game plan. We have to set ourselves up for success and not for failure. We want to view regain as, just the opportunity to reassess what we're doing and reel it all back in. We don't want that all or nothing thinking. Okay. I'll finally feel normal. I'll stop thinking about my body. I'll eat like everyone else. This whole chapter of struggling with weight will be closed. The reality is that weight maintenance is an ongoing relationship, not a finish line. Remember, now I can't even remember if it was the beginning of this episode or if it was in the last episode, but I talked about how the disease of obesity is a chronic, reoccurring disease. So it has to be managed for the rest of our lives. Every day that we wake up, we're still on the journey. There's no oh, I hit a finish line, I failed, I'm done, forget it. We're still kicking, then we're still on the journey. We can change at any point. We can get back on track at any point. And so we want to think about it in terms of the long game, not how can I lose as much weight as quickly as possible. The goal is not never thinking about weight again. It's thinking about it without distress, if that makes sense. Another expectation is if I lose weight, everything I sacrificed will be worth it. So the payoff is going to feel big enough to justify the effort. When sometimes the reality is if weight loss required extreme restriction, so if you went on one of those extreme diets with rigid rules and you were miserable the whole time, it actually produces resentment. People realize they don't want to live like that forever. And that can lead to rebellion, burnout, and then, of course, regain. So remember that key word, sustainable. Sustainability matters more than the number. Lastly, I want to talk about a fascinating phenomenon about going from a larger body to a smaller one. So often, the larger our body, the more invisible we feel. I can remember being at my highest weight, nearly 400 pounds, feeling like people literally just looked right through me. I felt discredited or discounted from peers, teachers, medical professionals, employers, and certainly romantically. I didn't feel like anyone really saw me for me. They just saw fat and pushed me aside like I didn't even exist. I remember thinking at the time, physically, you can't miss me. I take up a lot of space, but people just disregard my existence. It felt overwhelmingly lonely. And yet, after losing weight, people do start to notice you. And sometimes that's exciting, but it can also be incredibly unnerving. I have so many clients who continue to wear clothes that are like way too big as kind of a way to shield their bodies from the awkward attention. I personally used alcohol as a way to feel more comfortable and confident around people. That didn't work out too well for me, but it felt empowering at the time. And the single most devastating reality after weight loss for me is that losing weight does not prevent you from rejection, heartbreak, and loneliness. I told you this was going to get super vulnerable, and this is why. I've had to learn that being in a smaller body doesn't guarantee a Hallmark style romance with a white picket fence and happily ever after. I had never felt loved by a man prior to my weight loss surgery, and while I never would have admitted it at the time, I definitely expected that once I lost the weight, someone was going to love me and I would fall in love and get married and live happily ever after. It happens to so many people after weight loss surgery or just weight loss in general. You know, you see people online and you know people in your life that it's happened to, and well, that just has not been my experience. See, weight loss doesn't guarantee us a fairy tale. Once again, it's been a lot of years, a lot of tears, and a lot of Holy Spirit intervention to bring me some semblance of peace in this area. I was on the dating apps for several years. Fun fact, I've even been on farmersonly.com at the suggestion of my sister-in-law, who thought it would be a great fit since I love country music and I love a man in a Stetson. Spoiler alert, I did not meet anyone, but it was highly entertaining for a while. I thought if I really put myself out there and declared to the universe I was ready for my husband, he would just show up. Turns out, not so much. I've gotten my heart broken and faced rejection time and time again. So much that the fear of rejection has left me with decision paralysis in every aspect of my life. I allowed myself to become literally petrified of rejection. And when I let the voice of the enemy get in my head, I can slide down the slope of feeling like I must not be worthy of love, or that I'm still too big for a man to want to love me. Maybe it's the thunder thighs. I say that to joke, but I'm really not joking. Tony Robbins, the GOAT of all personal development, says, whatever you fear, you must do. That paralysis is so, so real. I try to think of Tony every time I find myself in a state of freeze due to fear. If it is this scary, I have to just rip the Band-Aid and do it. I hope you remember his advice too. So I don't know why I'm going on 45 and still haven't found my person, but I do know that God has a plan for me, a plan to prosper me and not to harm me, a plan to give me hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. I know that even though it can feel like nobody sees me, my God is Elroy, the God who sees me. He is my creator, and his plan and his purpose is bigger and better than anything that I could ever hope, dream, or imagine for myself. So I am at peace because I trust in the Lord. Thanks for letting me get vulnerable with you guys and share some of the most common expectation pitfalls about losing weight and what happens afterwards. Weight loss doesn't disappoint us because it, quote unquote, doesn't work. It disappoints us because we weren't prepared for the reality of what comes after. We have unrealistic expectations. And when we have those expectations that are not realistic, progress actually feels like failure. Maintenance feels exhausting. Regain feels devastating. And shame replaces self-compassion. The most successful long-term outcomes happen when people expect imperfection, ongoing effort, emotional work, and flexibility instead of control. So nearly 2 decades and 200 pounds later, is it all worth it? The highs, the lows, the tears, the triumphs. Abso-freaking-lutely. Would not trade a single moment because it's all been a learning experience. And for me, it's all brought me into a much deeper relationship with God. I want all of that for you. All the incredible non-scale victories of the weight loss process and all the learning experiences that help keep you learning and growing. This series has been very much like that. Incredibly rewarding to be able to present to you, and also challenging to dive into the personal struggles of my own long-term journey. Expectations will 100% take you out at the dang knees if you let them. Do not let them. Get rid of the unrealistic expectations and just enjoy the journey. The wild, bumpy, exhilarating, and exhausting adventure of weight loss and long-term weight maintenance. Please reach out to me at sam@theanchorednutrition.com if you have any questions or specific areas of long-term weight maintenance that you'd like me to cover in an upcoming episode. This show is for you. I love you. God loves you. Until next time. Hey friend, I hope you feel empowered by this episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to share it with another friend who needs it? Also, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. Your reviews are what helps it get seen by more people who need it. Okay, time to go show up for myself, and I hope you do the same. I'll meet you back here next week for another episode. Have a blessed day.